Yo, what is up, guys? It's Cohen back here again today with another video. The trade deadline has kind of snuck up on me. It's only 4 days away. Today is March 21st, and it is March 25th when the deadline hits, so it's coming up really quick. We haven't seen a ton of movement, a ton of concrete evidence of there being movement. We haven't heard any specific things like, oh, these two teams are discussing a player, like sometimes we usually do. We have had a couple trades. We had Hamidou Diallo and Trevor Ariza get dealt by the Thunder to the Pistons and Heat. We had the Bucks make a move for PJ Tucker from the Rockets, as well as dealing Torrey Craig to the Suns. So there's been kind of some stuff, but not nearly as much as I thought there was going to be. So I decided to make a video kind of talking about my thoughts about the trade deadline, what I think is going to happen, if I still think there's going to be a lot of movement, like I've previously said in other videos. Yeah, so I tweeted out this earlier. Drop me any questions you have about the trade deadline, and I'll answer some in a video. Here's that video. Real quick, I do want to thank you guys so much for all the support on the channel recently. It's really been popping off, and it couldn't happen without you guys. So please, if you like this type of content, if you like NBA content, please consider subscribing. It helps me out a lot. Leave a like, drop a comment what you think is going to happen at the trade deadline, and I'll just go ahead and answer some of your questions. So the first question is, what do you think the biggest name traded will be, and to where? So before the like a while ago, I would have said Kyle Lowry, but I don't think he's getting moved anymore. I don't really know how many big names are getting moved. The biggest names I could see getting moved are maybe like a DeMar DeRozan. I wouldn't be surprised if a DeRozan got moved. I don't think there's going to be like a Bradley Beal or anything. I don't think we see any superstars getting traded. I don't think John Collins is going to get moved. I don't know how many big names will get moved. I still think Vucevic should get moved. I don't know if he will be, though. Biggest name traded, I'll go Aaron Gordon as one of the big names I think will get traded. I think he ends up getting moved. Even though the Magic have talked about standing pat, I think he does end up getting moved. Outside of him, though, maybe a Victor Oladipo. I guess Victor Oladipo would be a bigger name than Aaron Gordon, so I'll go Victor Oladipo. I think Oladipo does get moved somewhere. I'm not sure where, but I think he does get traded. Who do you think will be the biggest buyers and biggest sellers? I'll give you one or two of each. Biggest seller, I think the Thunder are going to be one of the biggest sellers, as well as the Houston Rockets. Two teams that we've already seen make trades. I expect more trades from both sides of that equation, also at the deadline. So I think that those are probably going to be two of the biggest sellers. Biggest buyers. I think the Warriors could become a big buyer if they decide to make those moves. Outside of them, I could see the Bucks continuing to make moves. I think that the Lakers and Nets will probably mostly wait for the buyout market, so I think that they're probably not going to make too many moves. I could see the Clippers making a couple acquisitions. Specifically, I think they're going to go out and try and get a point guard, maybe like a George Hill. I'm going to go the Sixers. I think the Sixers make a move or two. I think they'll get like a George Hill or like maybe a Mike Muscala from the Thunder. As a Thunder fan, those are two guys I could biasly see going to the Sixers. They could make a couple moves otherwise, but I think that they're going to make some. What do you think the Celtics should do at the deadline? Should we make a big trade or just chill for this season? I think the Celtics should make moves. I don't think there's any reason to not make moves. Maybe they want to save that trade exception for the offseason, so maybe you save the big move with that trade exception for the offseason. But I think right now you try and make some small moves. You try and get competitive. There's no harm in being competitive. It's not like this roster is going to tank for a pick. They're too good to tank. You have Jason Tatum, you have Jaylen Brown, two all-stars. You've got Kemba Walker, who is still good, even if he's not quite what he used to be. You still have a lot of solid pieces on this team. I don't see them tanking or just trying to give up on this season, especially with Marcus Smart just coming back from injury. He's trying to work his way back into the lineup. I still think the Celtics are going to have a decent end to the season, be a top 4 or 5, maybe 6 at the worst seed. Yeah, I think that they'll end up picking up some pieces. I don't think they should do a big trade necessarily, unless there's something comes available, but I think more will be available in the offseason in the big trade market. Is Washington better off competing this season, making trades, or going for a lottery pick? Long term, I think they're better going for a lottery pick. For retaining Bradley Beal, maybe competing. I know Beal doesn't want to lose. I know Beal wants to compete, so I don't see him being a big fan of going for a lottery pick. So it's really just you kind of have to weigh those two things. It depends how Bradley Beal feels. Will the Wizards make a move? I'll go yeah. I'll say they make some small move. I don't think it impacts anything too much, but I think they'll make something. I don't think it's trading Beal or anything. What should the Lakers do since LeBron is out? Would Hill or Moose fit on this team? Who is most likely going to land Moose? I think any contender could land Mike Muscala. He's a great player in terms of what contenders want. They want guys who can stretch the floor. I could see him going to the Sixers like I just mentioned. They need a floor stretching big. Hill or Moose would definitely fit on the Lakers. I think Moose maybe a little bit more, but they've also been there, done that before, so I don't know if they'll pick up Moose. George Hill's a great player. I think he would also fit pretty well. And also, if they get him, it keeps him away from the Clippers, who are a potential candidate. Since LeBron is not for, I think they just stand pat. I think this roster is really good, and as soon as LeBron and Montrezl Harrell get healthy, they'll be good. Maybe they pick up like a Drummond in the buyout market, but as for the trade deadline, I don't think that they end up doing much. Um, One trade I really want to see made before the deadline, Nikola Vucevic. I want to see Vucevic get moved. Also Kyle Lowry. I'm going to give you two there. I want to see both of those trades happen. I think it would be cool, and I think that both of those teams could really benefit from moving on from those guys. With the way the Sixers bench is producing, do you think any big, minor, or no trades will happen? I don't think anything massive, not like a Zach LaVine or something like that, but I think minor stuff like picking up like a George. I'm going to talk about George Hill, Mike Muscala again. You could also talk about a JJ Redick if you think you can kind of salvage him a little bit. Maybe a different backup point guard. Maybe they could go for Spencer Dinwiddie, but I doubt the Nets try and give one of their biggest competitors one of their better players. So yeah, Drummond 100% gone by the deadline. Not by the deadline. I could absolutely see him getting bought out. I think 100% he is going to get bought out. I don't see any team moving for that contract. So, yeah. Do you see any trades happening today after the deadline? Unfortunately, Steven, I do not, but that is a good question. What's the deal with Victor Oladipo? Why are there non-contending teams like the Pistons interested in him? And does he get moved? Yes, I do think he gets moved. Where does he get moved? Part of me wants to say the Heat, just because that seems like that's where he wants to be. Why are there non-contending teams like the Pistons? I don't know if they actually are interested. I think they're just doing their due diligence to kind of check it out. The Pistons seem to have no interest in tanking. They kind of want to be competitive, even if they are bad. So I guess that's why they would make a move for him. Or maybe they want him to help them tank. Victor Oladipo hasn't played too great this season, so maybe that's the game plan. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe Victor Oladipo still has something left in the tank. Maybe like a Warriors would go out and try and get him, but I don't know. OKC are big sellers. Yeah, I think we're going to be big sellers at the deadline. What team should target Norman Powell? I think a better question is who shouldn't target Norman Powell. Norman Powell's been super good. I think any team would be smart to target him. The same contenders, like you could talk about a Sixers that could use some more bench scoring. The Bucks, I think the Bucks are a great fit for Norman Powell. I just don't know if they have the assets to pick him up. Yeah, you could talk about pretty much any of those contending teams out east or out west. Like he would fit great on the Lakers too. Should the Lakers go out and replace Marc Gasol or no? I don't think they can. And I think the best they're going to do is Andre Drummond. And I think he's a buyout market guy, so I don't see them trading for anyone. Where do you want to see Drummond go? Probably the Lakers. I think the Lakers are the best option for him and the best option overall. He's not going to get... I think that's where he'll get the most use and he'll have the best chance of winning a ring. I mean, he could go to Brooklyn, theoretically, but that's a very crowded front court. I think if he goes to... Los Angeles, he's going to have plenty of opportunities to try and prove himself while also trying to get a ring. Should the Magic try to move Vucevic? Yes, 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 yes. I've said this about 1,000,000 times. Yes, they should try and move him, make him available, see what they can get. I think they could get a bag for Vucevic. Is Kenrich Williams appealing to contenders? Yes, absolutely. What's his trade value? Maybe a first-round pick. If we get lucky, maybe a first-round pick. Otherwise, I think just like a second-round pick potentially for him. Maybe like a contract to match his. Yeah, probably not too much. We'd be lucky to get a first-round pick, I think, just because while he's done a lot, it's not long-term success, and so we can't prove that this is sustainable. Even though I think it is, I think Kenrich Williams is a very valuable piece to contenders. He knocks down his shot. He can grab boards. He plays hard, plays defense. I would love Kenrich Williams on any team if I was a fan of a contending team. Would it be ideal for the Celtics to trade for a big man and see what they can get for Kemba? I think you can gauge Kemba's trade market. I don't know what you get for him at this point in his career, but there's no point in not gauging his trade market. What trade for a big man? I mean, yeah, I would try. I would ask about Vucevic from the Magic. I would at least gauge it a little bit. I think Vucevic would be a great fit on this team, although they could use some rim protection is what I meant to say. They could use some rim protection. Vucevic doesn't give you a lot of that, but I mean, he's a bigger body. So, do you think the Warriors should be aggressive? I don't know what the Warriors should do. The Warriors are a team I'm very up and down on. I don't think they should be too aggressive because I like Wiggins. I think Wiggins would fit well once Clay comes back. I like Oubre if he's able to stay consistent. The problem is he isn't. I don't think they should get too aggressive. Don't mortgage your future for right now. You're not going to win anything this season. If I'm being blunt, they're not going to win anything this season. They need to wait till next season when Clay comes back. What middling team should try to sell? Thunder. Yeah, we should try and sell. The Kings. The Kings are a team that should sell. They're who I'm going to talk about here. The Kings are not moving Harrison Barnes and Buddy Hield, and I think that's dumb. Specifically, Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes has played great this season, and his value is high, and you are not going to make the playoffs. You can try to make the playoffs, but I am not confident that the Kings will make a playoff run. And that being said, I think they should try and move him. Open up some space. Maybe if even moving a Buddy Hield opens up space for Tyrese Halliburton, who is your future at that 2 spot next to De'Aaron Fox, I believe. So, yeah, I think they should try and give young guys the opportunity to excel, see what you have in all these guys. The Kings, man, I just don't know. I don't understand how they're being run. I don't understand it. Who's the best player traded? This is a tough one. Man, I wish there were going to be bigger moves made. I don't think Kyle Lowry gets moved. I think he's the best player that has a chance of getting moved, but I don't think he gets traded. Let's go bold. Let's say Vucevic. Let's say Vucevic gets moved. Will the Magic ever do something or be average for the next decade? Probably the second one. Tell me Bazley is safe. I'm pretty sure Bazley's safe, like 90% sure, 80% sure. 80% sure he's safe. What do the Wizards do? Blow it up or buy to try and make a playoff push? I don't think they end up doing anything. I think the Wizards are going to stand pat. That's probably not a good decision, but I think that's what they're going to do. Danny Ainge make moves. He's going to try to make moves. We'll see if he actually pulls them off. I think he makes something. Will the Warriors be aggressive? I think they will consider being aggressive. I'm not sure if they actually go for it or not, but I think they're going to try for it. What are some potential destinations for Mike Muscala? We talked about this. With the contenders, what team is most likely to sell and try to tank at the deadline? The Thunder, easily. Should the Sixers trade for Covington? Yes. Can they trade for Covington? I don't think so. I don't think the Blazers are giving him up. He's a good piece of their team, and they're playing really well right now. Let's see. This just says Oladipo. Okay. How do you feel about Horford? I don't think Horford ends up getting moved. I don't think he does. I think the Celtics are looking at him, but I don't think he gets moved. He just has too big of a contract. The Celtics would have to use their trade exception on that, and I think they want to use that to grab a star player potentially in the offseason. I don't think they want to use it on Al Horford. I love Al Horford, but I don't know if he raises their ceiling that much. Woj said he predicts there'll be about 16 and 19 trades. Do you think that's going to happen? I would love to see that happen. That's a great amount of trades. I would love to see that many trades happen, so I'm hopeful. Do you think the Raptors do a small blow-up and trade Lowry and Powell? I think that they probably should. If I were them, that's probably the move I would make, but I don't think they do. What team is most likely to make a trade for a star? I think the Nuggets are an interesting candidate. They have some contracts on there that they could flip, like a Gary Harris's contract. Yeah, I think the Nuggets are a sleeper to try and trade for a star, but I don't know if any stars are getting traded. Is Lonzo going to be traded? I don't think so. I think the way he's been playing on the Pelicans have started to see him as more of a piece for the future, and I think that they end up keeping him. Do you think we should trade for Mo Bamba? Yes, I would love to trade for Mo Bamba. I don't know if we can make it happen because the Magic seem to be giving him some more opportunities. Yeah, it says right here. Right here he's saying that the Magic are kind of giving Bamba some more opportunities, which I think they should. Especially if they trade Vucevic, I think Mo Bamba is untouchable at that point because he could potentially be their center of the future. But I don't know. I don't think Mo Bamba ends up getting moved. I don't know what they would ask for him. I would love to gauge that and see what we could offer, but I don't think it ends up happening. I'd love to see it though. This person said, I think we strip it down, wait the deadline, go deep into the tank. What are your thoughts? I agree. Where's my follow? Here's your follow. I got you. Do the Sixers make any big moves? Big moves, no. Solid moves, yes. Let's see. I think we're starting to run out of stuff. This is all pretty much the same stuff. Who should the Spurs trade LaMarcus Aldridge for? I think LaMarcus Aldridge gets bought out. I don't think that anyone's going to trade for that contract. I think he gets bought out after the deadline. Who's untouchable on the Thunder? Shea, Dort, probably Poku and Teo. Those are the 4 guys I would say. Bazley maybe, but I don't know. Would you accept Kawhi for Wiggins, Oubre, Pascal, and 2 firsts? And if I'm the Warriors, absolutely. If I am the Clippers, hell no. Could you see Ricky Rubio being moved? I messed that name up. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, so I think it's looking like, yeah, that's about it. Do you believe the Hawks should trade John Collins? No, I don't think so. What's my best trade package for him? I don't have one because I don't think they should trade him. So that's about it for this video. Once again, shout out to you guys for all the support. Thank you for watching through to the end of this video. If you see this part of the video, say Al Horford will be a Celtic. And yeah, I will see you guys later for more trade deadline coverage. Everyone say it back.